January 6th, when Bitcoin was trading at $16,000, I gave you this warning about the biggest bust-out breakout for Bitcoin's price that we've seen in years. Fast forward 2 weeks, and Bitcoin has absolutely lathered the baby bears in thick dumpage that sees the Bitcoin price significantly above $20,000. But what if I told you now that something even bigger is coming? And a warning that you need to be prepared for if you plan on absolutely ripping and dipping the baby bears into oblivion during this year. Because I promise you, even though the baby bears are crying to their mommies, diapers absolutely filled to the brim with their own liquidated shorts, the baby bears will, and I repeat, will, attempt to exact revenge upon the Moon Boys one final time. Right now, the Bitcoin price was able to bust above the $23,000 level, but will that hold? How long do we have before some sort of consolidation? And in fact, has the biggest bust not even begun yet? But the big question that I think needs to be in your mind right now after a $7,000 plus move for Bitcoin over just the last week or so, will we be getting a pullback? Is this a good time to long, or is it a good time to short? Or is the biggest dumpage, pumpage, and everything in between actually just right around the corner? So if we want to take a look at the Bitcoin price right now, currently, Bitcoin has managed over the past couple of days to break 20, 21, 22, and 23,000 US dollars. And there's so much now after breaking above some key moving averages and the biggest resistance lines that we've seen this entire bear market that really gives Bitcoin pretty much an opportunity that it has not had. But first, let's take a look here. According to Jordan Lindsay here, the underbelly breakout is the most massively bullish bottoming signal for Bitcoin, and it has called all previous bottoms. And basically, the underbelly breakout, which I think is a fantastic name, by the way, the underbelly breakout seems to potentially just be beginning right now, and that's pretty much the biggest thing here. Okay. Guys, I mean, in retrospect, as I've been saying for weeks and months now, in retrospect, when everybody was screaming that no, not only is 10K not the bottom, we had crazy banana brains saying, what are we going to 8K? We're going to 5K? Hey, why not even make it $2? You know what? Let's make it negative. Bitcoin is going to Banana Town, right? I mean, when you have people saying things like that, if that's not a bottom signal, I mean, again, and in retrospect, it will become more and more obvious to more and more people. As we're already seeing people shift and think, okay, maybe that this mega giga bounce, after trading sideways and sideways all down at this $15,000 to $17,000 range for months, maybe that actually was the bottom. Maybe everyone's saying 10K is coming. Maybe all of that was just maximum fear. And again, right, there's still going to be people watching this that disagree. There are absolutely still people that were previously lobotomized that do believe that a 2K Bitcoin and below is still realistic. And again, technically, I guess anything is possible, but if Bitcoin gets to 2K, you would have to imagine how far the stock market would dump, and you would have to imagine that half of the entire planet was blown to smithereens by some gigantic asteroid for something as crazy as that to happen, right? You know, technically anything is possible, absolutely, right? Anything is possible, but we have to be realistic sometimes. And some of these price targets that we were seeing over the past few months just screamed bottom. And if we take a look here, King Law Crypto here, King LA Crypto, let's do King Law Crypto. Bitcoin's 1 week. Obviously, we've been following this again for months. We talked about the falling wedge for Bitcoin literally back in October and the very beginning of November. But we see the bullish divergence playing out, and that really is one of the biggest stories here. You can see here, again, this bullish divergence is now, this is multi-month. In fact, this is like a 6-month bullish divergence. And we're seeing this begin to play out here. And as you can see illustrated on his chart, we had bearish divergence play out at the top that led to a massive dumpulation. And now we have not exactly the same amount of length, but literally 6 months of bullish divergence on the weekly chart. That's very significant. We see that now playing out, and you have to believe that, there's still some room to pump for Bitcoin. Absolutely. As I've been saying for months, to the mid 30,000s. That's what I've been saying, the same thing for months. And we're getting closer now. Finally, people are starting to think, okay, maybe that's a possibility. But the biggest thing is here, I do think that we're going to see some consolidation soon. If not, I believe it will be soon. Right now, Bitcoin is run. It's pumped $7,000. If we look on obviously, we look on some shorter term charts here. In the very short term, is it possible that we get some sort of a pullback or consolidation? I think at some point it becomes necessary. And we have to really wait for confirmation, because at this point we have no confirmation yet. At this point, it's just as likely we run to 25,000 as it is we dump back down to 21 or 20,000. We need to wait for those short-term confirmations. However, I personally think that at this point it becomes smart to just be a little conscious, to where if you're just going to throw in ape long positions right now, well, let's be honest, guys, you missed a lot of this pump if you're doing that now. There will be more opportunities. This could easily still run to 25,000 before any sort of consolidation, but this is the point where I think it becomes necessary to be cautious, right? Cautious. Because exuberance is finally starting to flood in, and pretty much the people that would look at 23,000 and think, okay, I'm going to long this up without any pullbacks, are the people that are late to the game, right? It's the people that are newer, that haven't really seen these market movements, or just I don't know, they let their emotions dictate everything. So that's all I'm trying to say there, is to be cautious. Absolutely, I think this pump is going to go for very possible weeks and months, but a pullback, I think, it becomes increasingly likely every $1,000 we pump from here on out. So that's just, being a little cautious right here is not a bad thing. And as well, Crypto Noob posting, we obviously have gotten some very bullish crosses over the past couple of weeks, or actually over the past 2 weeks. And now as we enter this, again, I think it's very likely we are going to enter some upside right here. And again, I think a lot of people now are reiterating this idea of this bullish divergence just being strong. Technicals were there, charts were screaming bottom, but as usual, majority was in full bear mode, says Wolfier, a Twitter account. And again, pretty much it's how it always goes. Most people were screaming, we're just going to go lower. I'm going to buy in lower. I'm going to buy in lower. And you saw people that were bear posting get more and more engagement than ever before. And again, that becomes dangerous, because you have to realize sometimes the people that are bear posting are simply bear posting more and more because they're getting more and more attention. And so basically it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of being wrong. The more and more people that encourage you to be bearish, just like with bullish, it happens at the top of bull markets also, but it happens at the bottom of bear markets, and I think people pretend like that's not real. Okay, we see people get a lot of engagement for being mega bearish. Oh, you think 10K is bad? Let's say 5K. You think 5K is bad? Let's say 2K. Again, might as well go negative, right? The more bearish you post in a bear market, the more engagement you get, and then that becomes self-fulfilling, and the people that are getting all of that attention by posting all this bearishness end up just being bearish for the sake of being bearish. And they will find reasons to keep being bearish and let their emotions find the reasons instead of reality. Okay? Because once you decide to be bearish, it's, as you can see from the space, many people, once they decide to be bearish, they will just be bearish until it's embarrassing to be bearish, right? And again, we're seeing that happen with some people that are the biggest bearish accounts. And again, this is still even very early on in the move. So there's still hopium that this absolutely will swing us back down to below 10K, which again, technically I have to say is technically possible. But again, I think you know where my opinion, if you've watched more than 2 videos, of what my opinion on that is. But taking a look at Bitcoin's chart, again, we have had two of the nicest weekly candles for Bitcoin we've seen in a year. 2 green consecutive big candles like this, we haven't seen since the only time we've attempted to have a breakout back in March of 2022. That was basically the only attempt at a nice pump sustained for a week and a half, 2 weeks, that we had this entire bear market since the end of 2021. So it's been a long time. And again, as we see, we've been talking about this falling wedge for well over 3 months now. Bitcoin itself, on this weekly and monthly chart, has the potential to go much higher. But I did say a few minutes ago, we have to be careful. Let's say for the next 2 days, what if we did pull back down to 21 or 20K, or heavens forbid 19K or something like that? Everybody would be losing their minds. But then zoom out, maybe like 5 days after that, we were back above 23, 24, and even 25K. That is more likely the situation of how this, the possibility of how this market moves than anything else. We have seen it go straight up for basically 2 weeks. Now you have to start being cautious, because yes, there are prolonged amounts of times where we see it just go straight up, but there always is a time where eventually we get a pullback. And specifically though, this is a time to be bullish, because this looks as though a very strong macro pattern, a very strong macro chart. And again, as you can see, now we've broken above again, just a massive level of resistance now for the very first time. There was this level right here. There's actually a few very big zones where we got rejections. Initially, we had this zone here where we got massive rejections over and over. You can see it plotted in this chart, and ultimately ended up actually finding support here at the bottom or the beginning of November. Okay, and once we broke that, then we had, again, multiple weeks of getting rejected here as well, and also most recently at the beginning of December there. But now the two highest levels that we got rejected at and actually breaking this trend concretely, we just squeaked out recently by breaching about 23,000. So this is the biggest one. It's the last one. So that's very positive for Bitcoin's price. And again, now the biggest levels, we've broken above very key weekly, all the daily moving averages. Very key weekly, however, we still have the $25,000 level, which is the 200-week moving average, which is gigantic. That ultimately is basically 25,000, I think. If we're able to get above that, then it's very clear we're easily going to go to the mid 30,000s. But again, that is like the last big roadblock. It's like the last big hurdle for Bitcoin on these charts. And so far, it's been slicing through a lot of these easily because of there's a lot of reasons that we cover every day. The macroeconomic situation changing with inflation, with Bitcoin just flashing 1 billion bottom signals, with it just being completely oversold for a year plus, right? There's a million reasons. If you really want to get into either on-chain metrics or TA or even fundamental reasons why Bitcoin is oversold, you can find them very easily. But again, now Bitcoin's in a very interesting position to where, again, as I've been saying, this doesn't look like the beginning of a new bull market. So I don't know why people are saying that so much. I don't think this is the beginning of a new bull market, but I think this is, again, as I've been saying for weeks, especially down when we were at $16,000. You can go back and watch this video. This is the title. The date is right here. You can look it up very easily. This looks like the beginning of a very strong relief. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen. But I absolutely urge caution here. I mean, again, even if we look at the top alt ETH, we are actually running into resistance right around 17,000 or 1,700. One day we might be saying 17,000. That'd be amazing. But 1,700 there. And yeah, a lot of these coins are getting closer and closer to breaking some of their key moving averages as well. But yeah, we're just simply not there yet. This pump has been, again, greatly strengthened by the fact that so many shorts have gotten liquidated along the way, and that just pushes it higher and higher because so many people were short. Overwhelmingly, so many people thought Bitcoin was going 10K or below. And I mean, again, the market provided maximum pain to the people that were believing those narratives. So you guys check out, make a like, share, turn on those ghost notifications so you miss these absolute time-sensitive alerts. Sign up with BITGET and BitGet below to get 0 fees for spot trading. Absolutely insane. Deposit and welcome bonuses simply by putting in an email and creating an account. No KYC required. And as well, with BitGet, you can do copy trading now for the first time ever with spot trading. So you can just pick somebody who's up, whoever you want, 1, 2, 3,000%, because there are people up that much on the copy trade feature on BitGet. You pick them, you can trade alongside with them with spot trading, which is much less risky as well. Without any further ado, that's it for me.